Welcome to Easy English Official. Today, I want to speak to you with an open heart, in simple English, as if we are sitting together and sharing a warm conversation. This video is not only about learning English, it is also about learning courage, finding your inner strength, and believing that you can grow, even when life feels heavy. I want you to feel safe, supported, and understood as you listen to this story. Many English learners feel afraid when they try to speak. Maybe your hands shake when you say a new word. Maybe your heart feels heavy when someone asks you a question in English. Maybe you stay quiet because you do not want to make a mistake. I understand this very well. I felt the same way in my own life, not only in English, but in many moments when I tried something new. When fear is big, everything feels hard. You want to speak, but your voice becomes small. You want to try, but your feet feel stuck. You want to move forward, but something inside you says, stop. Fear can make your world small, like a room with no windows. You stay inside because it feels safe, but deep inside you know you want to step out and breathe fresh air. Fear is a strong feeling, and many people think they must wait until fear disappears. They believe they must feel brave and strong before they start something new. But the truth is different. Fear does not disappear by waiting. Fear grows bigger when you run away from it. Fear holds you still. Courage helps you move. These two forces live inside all of us, and the one you listen to will shape your life. In this video, I want to take you on a journey. It is a real journey from fear to strength. It is the story of how small, simple steps changed my life. You will hear moments of weakness, moments of shaking hands, and moments of quiet bravery. I will tell this story in simple English, so you can learn the language while also learning about yourself. My hope is that you feel inspired, encouraged, and ready to take your own steps by the end. Maybe you are watching this video because you want to speak English better. Maybe you want more confidence. Maybe you want a better life, a stronger mind, or a calmer heart. Whatever your reason, I am happy you are here. You are not alone. Millions of learners around the world feel the same fear, the same worry, the same doubt. But you are here today, and that already means you want to grow. When I first started learning something new in my life, I was scared. My voice was small. My steps were slow. I did not know how to begin. I felt like people were watching me. I worried they would laugh at my mistakes. I worried I would look foolish. These feelings held me back for a long time, and maybe they are holding you back too. But here is something important. The people who grow are not the people who never feel fear. They are the people who move even when fear is loud. Think about two versions of yourself. The first version listens to fear. This version waits, hides, avoids, and stays silent. This version wants comfort more than growth. The second version listens to courage. This version tries, even when the voice shakes. This version learns, even when mistakes happen. This version moves slowly forward, step by step. Which version do you want to become? The answer begins with one small choice. I want to help you make that choice today. I want this story to be a soft light in your life, a light that shows you another way to live. When you understand that courage is not a big jump but a tiny step, everything becomes possible. One word, one hello, one try. These are enough to start your journey. And the journey is the most beautiful part. Many people think courage is loud, strong, and fearless. But I learned that courage can be soft, quiet, and gentle. Courage is not shouting. Courage is whispering, I can still try when everything feels difficult. Courage is not running fast. Courage is taking one slow step when your legs feel weak. Courage does not start as a mountain. Courage starts as a small seed inside you. When you care for that seed, it grows. In this video, I will show you how courage grew inside me. It did not grow all at once. It grew one small action at a time. And every small action made me a little stronger, a little braver, a little more alive. I believe the same can happen for you. I believe your courage is waiting to grow, and all it needs is one step, one moment, one choice. As you listen to this story, I want you to feel included. I want you to imagine your own life, your own hopes, your own fears. You do not need perfect English to begin. You do not need perfect confidence to try. You only need a willing heart. And if you are here, I know you already have that. So let us start this journey together. Let us walk step by step, slowly, gently, with honesty and hope. Let us breathe deeply and open our hearts a little more. This is not just a video. This is a moment of growth for both of us. And I am honored to share it with you. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. The dark beginning, living with fear. In the beginning, my life was full of fear. It was not a loud fear. It was a quiet fear that lived inside my chest, like a soft voice telling me to stop. When I tried something new, my hands shook, and my breath felt heavy. My mouth became silent even when I wanted to speak. I felt small in every room, and I tried to make myself even smaller. Fear followed me everywhere, and I did not know how to escape it. Every day felt like a battle with myself. I wanted to talk to people, but my feet stayed still. I wanted to try new things, but my heart closed like a door. When people looked at me, I looked away. When they smiled, I pretended not to see. When they asked questions, I gave short answers because I was afraid of saying something wrong. Fear made me hide my real voice, my real thoughts, and my real dreams. Because of this fear, my world became very small. I stayed in safe places. I stayed with familiar faces. I stayed inside my comfort zone because it felt easier. I avoided new experiences, new conversations, and new challenges. When friends invited me to join activities, I made excuses. When teachers asked me to speak, I lowered my eyes. When life opened doors for me, I kept them closed. I thought I was protecting myself, but I was only building a cage. I remember days when I wanted to speak but felt frozen. My mind had the words, but my lips refused to move. I remember moments when I wanted to join a group, but my legs felt heavy. I remember nights when I told myself, tomorrow I will try. But the next day came, and fear came with it. It felt like fear was stronger than me, and I did not know how to fight it. I believed I had to wait until fear disappeared before I could act. This belief was the wrong path. I thought I needed to feel brave before taking a step. I thought courage meant feeling strong, confident, and ready. But fear does not disappear when you wait. Fear grows. Fear becomes bigger, louder, and more powerful the longer you hide. Waiting for no fear kept me stuck. It kept me quiet. It kept me small. It made my life darker and heavier. It made me miss many chances that could have helped me grow. Because of fear, I judged myself too much. I believed I was weak. I believed other people were better than me. I believed I had no real strength. Every mistake felt like a disaster. Every small failure felt like proof that I was not good enough. Sometimes I cried alone because I felt trapped inside my own mind. I wanted to change, but I did not know where to begin. I felt like a seed stuck under heavy soil, unable to rise. I did not know it then, but the right path was different. The right path was not about waiting for fear to disappear. The right path was about understanding fear. It was about facing fear with small steps instead of running away. It was about accepting that fear would still be there, but choosing to move anyway. The right path was gentle, slow, and simple, but it was strong. It was the path that slowly opens your heart and teaches you to breathe again. If I could speak to my younger self, I would tell them that fear is not the enemy. Fear is a feeling, not a prison. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. Fear says, "This is new," but it does not say, "You cannot do it." The real enemy is hiding. The real danger is waiting for perfect courage. The real mistake is believing you must feel ready before you begin. I wish I knew this earlier, but every journey begins somewhere, even in darkness. This was the beginning of my journey, full of fear, full of doubt, full of small painful moments. But every story has a turning point. Every dark path has a small light waiting to shine. And my life began to change the moment I learned one simple truth. The big realization. Courage not equal to no fear. There came a moment in my life when everything changed, and it began with a simple thought I had never understood before. For many years, I believed courage meant no fear. I believed brave people were strong, confident, and calm all the time. I believed they moved through life easily without shaking hands or heavy hearts. But one day, I realized this belief was not true at all. The truth came to me slowly, like a soft light in a dark room. I was sitting alone, feeling afraid to speak again, feeling the same tightness in my chest. I asked myself, why am I waiting for fear to go away? I sat with that question for a long time. Then something inside me whispered, maybe courage does not mean the fear is gone. Maybe courage means moving even when fear stays. This idea felt new, but it also felt true. It felt like a small candle in darkness. Even though the room was still dark, the candle gave me a little light. The darkness did not disappear, but the candle helped me see. That is what courage really is. Courage is not the end of fear. Courage is the beginning of light. Courage is one small flame that helps you take one small step. I began to understand courage like a seed planted in the ground. A seed is tiny and quiet. It does not look strong. It cannot grow into a tree in one day. But when the seed decides to push up, even a little, it starts its journey. It pushes through the dark soil, little by little, even when it is difficult. That tiny push is courage, not a big jump, just a gentle rise. In that moment, I heard a new voice inside me. It was not loud, but it was clear. It said, I am scared, but I can try. This sentence became my new friend. Whenever fear came, I repeated it. I am scared, but I can try. These simple words helped me feel brave in a soft, gentle way. They did not remove my fear, but they gave me a way to move with it. Before this realization, I waited for fear to disappear. I waited for confidence. I waited for the perfect moment, but waiting only kept me stuck, like a small stone that never rolls. Waiting for fear to disappear equals no progress. I stayed in the same place again and again. I watched life move, but I did not move with it. I thought I was protecting myself, but I was actually stopping myself. After the realization, I learned something new. Acting while afraid equals slow, but real progress. Even the smallest action can change your direction. A small stone can start a river if it begins to move. A single drop of water can shape a rock over time. Small actions look small, but they create big change when you repeat them. I did not need to be fearless. I only needed to try. So I started small. I said hello to one new person, even though my voice was quiet. I spoke one English word aloud, even though my tongue felt heavy. I tried one new thing, even though my heart beat fast. Each action was tiny, but each one was a step forward. They were not perfect steps. Sometimes my voice shook, sometimes my words were wrong, but I kept trying. These tiny actions felt like planting seeds inside myself. Every time I tried, the seeds grew a little. They were not big trees yet, but they were small plants reaching toward the sun. I began to feel the difference inside me. Fear was still there, but something new was growing beside it. Something warm. Something strong. Something hopeful. That something was courage. I also learned that courage does not always feel good at first. Sometimes courage feels uncomfortable. Sometimes courage feels like your body is shaking or your breath is short. But courage is the feeling you get when you choose to move anyway. It is the feeling of taking one small step when you want to run away. It is the feeling of choosing growth over comfort. I used simple exercises to help me practice courage. One day, I stood in front of a mirror and said one English sentence. My voice was not strong, but it was real. On another day, I walked into a store and asked a simple question. I made mistakes, but I smiled anyway. Another day, I practiced saying my name louder and clearer. These actions were small, but they helped me grow. Little by little, life started to change. People smiled back when I said hello. I understood more words when I tried to speak. I felt more open when I walked into new places. Fear still lived inside me, but it no longer controlled me. I was learning to walk with fear, not run from it. And each small action made my courage a little bigger. One day, I looked back and realized something important. I had not become fearless. I had become brave in a different way. I had learned that courage grows slowly, like a seed becoming a tree. I had learned that one candle can guide you through darkness, even if the darkness does not leave. I had learned that the first step does not need to be strong. It only needs to be honest. This new understanding changed the path of my life. I felt lighter. I felt more hopeful. I felt ready to try again, even if fear followed me. And from that moment on, I promised myself to move. Even if I moved slowly, even if I moved softly, even if I moved with shaking hands. Because moving meant growing, and growing meant living. So I decided to take the smallest steps I could. Small steps that changed everything. The first step I took felt almost impossible. I decided to say hello to a stranger, someone I had never spoken to before. My hands were shaking, my heart was beating fast, and my mouth felt heavy. I almost turned away 100 times. But I remembered my new thought. I am scared, but I can try. So I said, quietly at first, hello. The stranger smiled back, and that small smile felt like sunlight on a dark day. That one word made my fear a little smaller. It was my first tiny victory. After that, I started practicing one new English word every day. At first it was hard. My tongue felt heavy when I tried to say the word correctly. Sometimes I forgot it in the middle of the sentence. Sometimes I said it wrong, and it sounded strange. But I kept practicing. I said the word again and again. Hello, hello, hello. Slowly, I began to feel my mouth and mind learning together. Each word I learned felt like planting a seed in my mind. At first, it was small. almost invisible, but I knew it could grow. Then I tried speaking one sentence louder. I used to whisper or mumble because I was afraid of being judged. But one day, I stood in front of a mirror and said a simple sentence. I am learning English. My voice shook at first. My words were not perfect, but I said it again, slowly, and then a third time with more confidence. I practiced this sentence every day, sometimes alone, sometimes to a friend. Each time I said it, I felt a small wave of courage growing inside me. My voice was finding its strength, just like a small tree slowly stretching toward the sky. Going outside instead of hiding inside was another small step. I used to stay in my room, reading or watching videos, avoiding the world because it felt scary. One day, I told myself, just go outside for 5 minutes. My legs felt heavy, my chest tight. But I walked to the park near my home. I saw people, birds, sunlight. I said hello to a neighbor. I said one English word to a shopkeeper. These simple actions felt small, but they felt brave. That 5-minute walk became 10 minutes, then 20, and I began to see the world differently. Fear was still there, but courage was growing beside it. Every small step felt heavy at first. I worried about mistakes, about what people would think, about whether I was doing it right. But each step was also a little victory. Each word I said, each greeting I gave, each walk I took outside, was proof that I could try. I began to notice that even small steps mattered more than I had imagined. The old me would have stayed silent, avoided, and waited for fear to disappear. The new me was trying, moving, and learning. That contrast gave me hope. To help my English, I started simple practice exercises that you can do too. For example, I would pick one sentence and repeat it 3 times a day. I am learning English. Hello, how are you? I can try even if I am scared. These sentences are short, easy, and full of courage. I would speak them slowly, then a little louder each day. I practiced in the mirror, in my room, or even outside. Each repetition helped my mind believe that I could speak, even when fear was still there. Another tip that helped me was using small conversations. I did not try to speak for an hour or give perfect sentences. I started with one line. Can I have water, please? How are you? I like this book. One line at a time. Each line was a small step, and each step was real progress. Slowly, these lines became small conversations. Slowly, I learned to listen and respond. Slowly, I started feeling proud of myself. This is how small actions grow into bigger confidence. Every step, even tiny, was like planting a seed in my heart. At first, the seed was very small. I could not see it growing. I could only feel it slowly inside me. The more I tried, the more it grew. Saying one word, greeting someone, speaking one sentence louder. These were drops of water, sunlight, and care for the seed. And every day the seed became stronger. Fear was still there, but it was no longer controlling me. Courage was growing like a tree inside me. I remember one moment that felt very special. I was walking to the market and saw a small group of people talking. My old self would have turned and walked away. My new self stopped. I smiled and said, "Hello, can I join?" My voice was soft but real. They smiled back and welcomed me. That moment felt like a door opening. It was small, but it felt huge. That single step showed me that tiny actions can lead to real change. Contrast is important to understand. Old me would have stayed in the room, quiet, scared, and avoiding everyone. I would have waited for courage to appear like magic. That approach never worked. It only made fear stronger. New me started small, acted even when scared, and learned from each step. Tiny actions, repeated every day, brought slow but certain change. Each day I moved a little farther, spoke a little louder, and felt a little braver. The difference between hiding and trying became very clear to me. These small steps taught me something very important. Courage grows slowly. It does not appear suddenly like a superhero. It grows like a seed becoming a tree, like a candle in darkness, or like a river starting from a small stone. Each tiny action adds to your courage. Each word you speak, each greeting you give, each step you take outside builds strength. It does not matter if it feels small. Small is enough. Small is powerful. Small is the beginning of change. Day by day, I noticed my life changing. I spoke more words, smiled more, joined small groups, and felt lighter inside. I made small mistakes, yes, but I learned from them. I kept planting seeds of courage. Each day, I felt the old fear grow a little weaker and the new strength grow a little stronger. Slowly, the darkness inside me began to lighten. Fear was no longer the boss of my life. Courage was learning to walk beside me. And this is how my journey continued. I started with small, tiny steps, each heavy but brave. Each step taught me, strengthened me, and helped me see that progress is real when you act, even with fear. Little by little, life began to feel bigger, brighter, and more open. Fear was still there, but courage was growing. And as these small steps continued, I began to notice that they were leading to something much bigger. But small steps started to grow into something bigger. The painful days. When fear comes back. Even after I started taking small steps, some days were still very hard. Fear did not disappear completely. Some mornings my hands shook when I picked up my notebook. My heart felt heavy when I tried to speak. Sometimes I forgot the words I had practiced. Sometimes I made mistakes that felt huge in that moment. These moments were painful. They reminded me that growth is not a straight line. It has ups and downs, and fear can return even when you feel stronger. I remember one day clearly. I was trying to say a sentence in English to a stranger. My voice shook. I forgot one word in the middle of the sentence. I could feel my cheeks burning. I wanted to run away. I felt embarrassed and small. My old self would have stopped forever thinking, I am not good at this. I will never learn. But something inside reminded me of what I had learned before. Courage is not perfect. Courage is trying again, even when it hurts. On those painful days, it was easy to feel like a failure. I thought, why can't I do this? Why is it so hard? But slowly, I learned that feeling like a failure is normal. Everyone experiences it, even people who seem confident. Mistakes are not proof that you are weak. Mistakes are proof that you are learning. Understanding this changed the way I saw my struggles. I began to see mistakes as stepping stones, not walls. I found a simple way to practice this mindset. I would tell myself, it is okay to try again. These words helped me take a deep breath and try the same action once more. I would repeat it when I spoke English, when I tried something new, or when fear returned. It is okay to try again. Slowly, these words became a habit. They reminded me that failure is not the end. It is part of the process. It is part of growth. Another helpful sentence I used was, a small step is still a step. Even if my actions were tiny, even if I only said one word or smiled at someone, it counted. These small steps added up over time. They reminded me that progress is slow but real. I began to celebrate each tiny success, even if it felt small in that moment. Saying one word, speaking one sentence, or taking one step outside all became victories. There were days when fear returned stronger than before. Sometimes I would wake up and feel like I had gone backward. I would try a sentence in English and it would come out wrong. I would speak to a stranger and my voice would tremble. I would make a mistake that seemed embarrassing. On those days, I had two choices: stop or continue. My old self wanted to stop. My new self remembered the lessons of courage. I chose to continue, even when it felt uncomfortable. Choosing to continue was not easy. My mind told me, just stay home, just hide today. My heart told me, it is too hard. But I reminded myself of the small steps I had already taken. I reminded myself that fear is part of growth. Each time I chose to continue, my courage grew a little stronger. Each time I chose action, even with fear, I moved closer to the person I wanted to become. Fear was still there, but it was no longer the boss. On the painful days, I also practiced breathing and slowing down. When my voice shook, I would take a deep breath and start again. When I forgot words, I would smile and repeat slowly. When I felt embarrassed, I reminded myself, everyone makes mistakes. Nobody is perfect. These small practices helped me keep moving forward, even when fear returned. They gave me control over my actions, even when my feelings were strong. I also learned to be gentle with myself. I did not push too hard, and I did not judge myself harshly. I accepted that some days are difficult and some days are easier. I accepted that courage grows slowly, like a seed. Some days the seed stays under the soil. Other days it rises a little, but it keeps growing. This understanding helped me stop comparing myself to others and focus on my own journey. Even though the days were painful, they were teaching me important lessons. They were teaching me patience, self-kindness, and resilience. They were teaching me that fear is not a sign to stop. Fear is a sign to move carefully, one step at a time. They were teaching me that mistakes, embarrassment, and trembling hands are all part of the process. They are signs that I am alive, learning, and growing. I practiced repeating the simple sentences every day. It is okay to try again. A small step is still a step. These phrases became a mantra. When I felt fear, I whispered them to myself. When I felt like giving up, I repeated them. When I felt small, I spoke them quietly but firmly. They reminded me that I am not failing. I am learning. I am moving. I am growing. And slowly, something amazing began to happen. Even though fear returned, it became easier to face. Even though mistakes happened, I felt less embarrassed. Even though my voice shook, I felt proud that I was speaking. I learned that painful days are not the end of the journey. They are part of it. They are part of the story of courage. They are part of becoming stronger. Then something surprising happened. Discovering my strength. After many small steps, I began to notice changes in myself that I had not expected. At first, they were very subtle. I could speak a little longer in English. I could say a short sentence without stopping in the middle. I could answer a simple question from a stranger without shaking as much. Each small action felt normal at first, almost invisible, but slowly, I realized these tiny victories were creating strength inside me without me even noticing. One day, I joined a small group of people talking at the park. My old self would have walked away, avoided the conversation, and stayed quiet. But now, I listened first, then added a few words. I spoke slowly, carefully, but clearly. The group smiled, nodded, and included me. I did not speak perfectly. I made mistakes. But this time, mistakes did not scare me. I did not run from them. I kept speaking, learning, and enjoying the moment. I felt a little taller inside, as if my courage had created more space in my chest. Another moment showed me how far I had come. I was at a small shop asking for help in English. Before, this would have felt impossible. My hands would shake, my voice would break, and I would have left without saying anything. This time, I spoke with confidence, asking simple questions. Where is the bread? Can I pay with card? My words were not perfect, but I felt proud. I realized that mistakes were no longer enemies. They were teachers. I could grow because I was brave enough to act, even with fear. I also noticed that I could speak longer sentences without feeling nervous. I tried saying, I am learning English every day, and I want to speak better. My tongue moved more easily now, my mind remembered the words, and my heart felt lighter. I could express myself in small ways, and each time I did, I felt a sense of achievement. Each sentence was like a small branch growing on the young tree of my courage. I began to understand that strength is not sudden. It grows quietly, slowly, and steadily. Every day I felt a little stronger, a little braver. I could smile at strangers, join small conversations, and not hide my voice. I did not need anyone to tell me I was brave. I could feel it inside. My old identity, the one that said, I am weak, was still there sometimes. Fear sometimes whispered in my ears. But now, I had a new identity growing inside me. It whispered back, I am growing. I am learning. I am trying. One evening, I looked at myself in the mirror and realized something powerful. I was not the same person anymore. My shoulders were a little straighter. My eyes were a little brighter. My voice felt a little stronger. And most importantly, my heart felt lighter. I realized that all the small steps I had taken, the tiny actions I had almost ignored, had created a new strength inside me. The seed of courage was no longer small. It was growing into a young tree, strong and reaching toward the sky. I thought back to the first time I said hello to a stranger. It felt impossible then. I remembered the first word I practiced in English. The first sentence I said louder. The first time I stepped outside instead of hiding. Each moment had seemed small, almost unimportant. But now, I could see how those small actions had added up. Each step had strengthened me, shaped me, and helped me discover my inner power. I had been growing quietly, steadily, without even noticing. Another sign of my new strength was my reaction to mistakes. Before, mistakes felt like disasters. Now, mistakes were simply part of the process. I could make a mistake in English, laugh a little, correct myself, and continue speaking. I no longer judged myself harshly. I no longer felt small or weak. Instead, I felt capable and alive. Each mistake became a lesson, and each lesson became a branch on the tree of my courage. I also began to notice changes in my daily life outside English. I joined conversations more often, smiled at people I did not know, and tried new experiences. I no longer avoided opportunities. I felt more open to life. I felt that I could handle challenges because I had already handled fear many times. Each success, each small act of bravery, reinforced the feeling that I was not weak anymore. I was growing. The contrast between my old self and my new self became clear. My old self said, I am weak. I cannot do this. I must hide. My new self said, I am growing. I can try. I can move forward. This contrast gave me hope. It showed me that change is real, possible, and gradual. It also reminded me that growth is a journey, not a destination. The old me still existed sometimes, but now I had a new voice that guided me forward. I began to feel pride in ways I had never felt before. Not pride in being perfect, but pride in being brave. Pride in showing up, even when I was scared. Pride in taking action, even when it was difficult. Each small success, each tiny step, was a proof that I could grow stronger, little by little. I realized that courage is not a sudden gift. It is built slowly with patience, practice, and kindness toward yourself. One morning, I sat quietly and reflected on my journey. I realized that my strength had been created quietly, like roots growing deep under the soil. I could see the branches now, reaching out with confidence and hope. I felt ready to try bigger challenges, to speak longer sentences, to join more conversations, to step further into life. I felt alive, and I felt strong. I had discovered my inner strength, and it felt amazing. This new strength gave me a sense of freedom. I no longer feared every small mistake or every unfamiliar word. I could try new things with curiosity instead of fear. I could speak in English with a smile, knowing that every word, every sentence, and every small action was part of my growth. I could see how far I had come, and it inspired me to keep going, one step at a time. And the most important moment came when I realized that this strength was real. One day, I looked at myself and said, I am not the same person anymore. It was not a feeling of perfection or fearlessness. It was a feeling of growth, of resilience, and of courage that had been planted and nourished over time. The seed I had planted in the beginning was no longer small. It had grown into a young tree, ready to grow taller, stronger, and wider. I understood that this strength was not just for English. It was for life. It was for every time I faced fear, hesitation, or doubt. Every small step, every tiny action had built something real inside me. I had discovered my strength, and it had been growing quietly all along without me even noticing. Fear was still present, but it no longer controlled me. Courage had become part of who I am, and this led to the biggest change of all. Transforming fear into power. Fear used to feel like a wall. It stopped me, held me back, and made my world small. But over time, I learned that fear can also become power. The same feeling that once made my hands shake and my voice quiet can now push me forward. Fear is energy. Fear is a signal. Fear is a teacher, not an enemy. When you know how to use it, fear can become your strongest ally. I realized that every time my heart beat fast or my stomach tightened, it was not a warning to stop. It was a message to pay attention. Fear was telling me, this is new, this is important, this is where growth happens. The places that once felt scary, the classroom, the park, speaking in English, became opportunities. Fear became a signal that I was moving in the right direction. I just had to act, even slowly, and let that energy guide me. One important lesson was learning to regulate my fear. When I felt my body tense, I practiced simple breathing. I would take a slow breath in, hold it for a moment, then slowly breathe out. I did this 3 or 4 times, and it helped my heart calm and my mind focus. I learned to slow down my actions, speak gently, and feel my courage growing with each calm breath. Even when fear was present, I could still move. Fear no longer stopped me. I started using fear to practice English in small, powerful ways. One exercise I loved was saying my name confidently. At first, even this felt strange. My voice shook, my tongue stumbled. But I repeated it slowly. My name is blank. Each repetition gave me a little strength. I practiced in front of a mirror, then to a friend, then to a stranger. Each time the fear was still there, but it became fuel instead of a barrier. My fear gave energy to my voice, my words, and my courage. Another exercise was speaking one sentence I had been afraid to say. It could be as simple as, I am learning English every day, or, hello, can I join? At first, I whispered. Then I spoke slowly, then a little louder. Each time I said the sentence, I used fear as a signal to focus. I noticed my voice, my posture, my smile. I celebrated each attempt, even if it was not perfect. Over time, fear became the engine that helped me move instead of the chain that held me back. Celebrating small wins was also essential. Every time I greeted someone, said a sentence, or joined a conversation, I paused and recognized it. I did it. I tried. I moved forward. This simple act helped me see that progress was happening. Fear did not disappear, but it became meaningful. It became part of my growth story. Instead of seeing fear as an enemy, I began to see it as a teacher guiding me step by step. Contrast helps to understand this change. Old fear was like a wall. It stopped me, made me small, and held me in silence. New fear was like a compass. It pointed me toward action, learning, and courage. Old fear told me, stop, hide, wait. New fear said, notice, breathe, try. Old fear created limits. New fear created opportunity. The shift from enemy to teacher changed everything in my life. I also learned to act immediately when fear appeared. When I felt nervous before speaking English, I reminded myself, fear means this is important. I can try. I did not wait until I felt perfect. I did not wait until the fear disappeared. I acted while it was there. This small but powerful practice taught me that fear is temporary, but the action we take is permanent. It creates strength that grows quietly inside us. Simple exercises made this idea real for me and can help you too. 1. Say your name confidently every day. 2. Speak one sentence you were afraid to say, even if it is short. 3. Celebrate each small win by smiling, clapping your hands, or saying, I tried and that is enough. Doing these exercises regularly trains your mind and heart to see fear as energy, not a wall. Slowly, you will notice that fear motivates you instead of stopping you. I also practiced imagining fear as light energy. When my body shook or my heart beat fast, I pictured the energy moving from my chest into my hands and feet, guiding my words, my smile, and my movements. This helped me feel less trapped by fear. It helped me see it as a tool, a signal, and a reminder that I was growing. Fear became part of my power instead of a chain around my wrists. The emotional change was remarkable. I used to feel small when fear appeared. I would hide, stay silent, and avoid new things. Now, when fear appears, I feel alive. I feel alert. I feel ready to act. Fear tells me I am on the right path, doing something that matters. I learned to welcome fear, work with it, and transform it into courage. This is the real power of fear. Even in English practice, I noticed the difference. I could speak longer sentences. I could ask questions in class. I could smile while making mistakes. My fear gave energy to my words. It gave focus to my voice. It gave me motivation to continue learning every day. I felt more confident because I was using fear as a teacher. I was no longer waiting for a perfect moment. I was acting while afraid, and each small action built real strength. I want you to remember this simple truth. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is your signal. Fear can guide you toward action, learning, and growth. When you notice fear, take a deep breath. Speak slowly. Take one small step. Say your name. Say one sentence. Smile and celebrate each win. These actions transform fear into power. They turn a feeling that once blocked you into fuel for your growth. And the best part is that this transformation works for every area of life, not just English. Anytime you feel nervous, afraid, or uncertain, you can use fear as energy. It can guide your steps, strengthen your voice, and expand your courage. Each time you act with fear, you grow. Each time you act, you create confidence, strength, and resilience. Fear becomes your teacher, and you become stronger with every step. Now let me share the lessons I learned so you can grow too. Practical lessons for you, English learners. Now that you have heard my story, I want to share practical lessons that helped me grow. These lessons are for you too, especially if you are learning English and want to feel more confident. You can start today, step by step. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to try. Little actions repeated every day create real change. The first lesson is to start small. Do not try to speak long sentences or impress everyone at once. Begin with one new word every day. Say it out loud. Repeat it slowly. Or greet one person with a simple hello. These small actions may feel easy, but they are powerful. They help you grow courage and improve your English at the same time. For example, you can say, "Hello, my name is blank." Repeat after me. "Hello, my name is blank." Another lesson is to be gentle with mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. They are signs that you are learning. When you say a word wrong or forget a sentence, do not stop. Smile, correct yourself, and try again. Your brain and mouth are practicing together. The more you try, the stronger your English becomes. Repeat after me. It is okay to make mistakes. I am learning. Mistakes are like small bumps on the road. They help you move forward, not stop. The third lesson is to practice daily. Tiny steps done every day grow into big progress. One word a day, one sentence a day, one greeting a day. These actions may feel small, but they build your confidence over time. Imagine planting seeds. A seed grows slowly, but every day it gets stronger. Practice is your sunlight and water. Repeat after me. I practice English every day. I grow a little every day. The fourth lesson is to use fear as a signal. Fear does not mean stop. Fear means that the step is important. If your hands shake or your heart beats fast, that is a sign you're doing something meaningful. Fear can guide you. When I felt afraid to say a sentence or join a conversation, I reminded myself, I am scared, but I can try. Repeat after me. I am scared, but I can try. Fear is your teacher, not your enemy. Contrast helps us learn faster. For example, speaking fast and messy may feel easier, but it can make you feel embarrassed. Speaking slow and clear helps you be understood and feel confident. Hiding from fear keeps you small, but practicing even a little every day helps you grow. Waiting for the perfect moment only keeps you stuck. Starting today, even with small steps, is the way to real progress. Let's try a few English sentences together. You can repeat after me slowly and clearly. Hello, I am learning English. I can try, even if I am scared. A small step is still a step. Saying these sentences regularly will build confidence. Your voice may shake at first. That is okay. Your courage will grow like a tree, slowly and steadily. Another practical tip is to celebrate every small win. If you say one word correctly, if you greet someone, if you try a new sentence, pause and recognize it. Say, I did it. I tried. I am proud. Repeat after me. I tried, and I am proud. This habit will help you see your growth and give you energy to keep moving forward. Growth is slow, but every step matters. When you practice English, you can also connect it to courage. Each time you say a new word, greet a person, or speak a sentence, you are practicing courage and language together. Your brain learns the words, your heart learns bravery, and your mind learns to focus. This combination helps you grow faster than just studying words alone. Repeat after me. Every word I say helps me grow. You can also use small daily exercises to build courage. For example, choose one sentence you are afraid to say and speak it every day. Stand in front of a mirror or a friend. Say it slowly, clearly, and confidently. Example sentences. I like learning English. Hello, can I join? I am trying my best. Repeat them aloud every day. Over time, your fear will decrease and your confidence will grow. Another lesson is to notice how far you have come. Look back at where you started. Remember the first word, the first hello, the first sentence you tried. Compare that to today. You may still be afraid sometimes, but you're stronger. You are moving. You are learning. Your courage and English are growing together. Repeat after me. I am stronger than yesterday. I am learning every day. Consistency is key. It is better to practice one sentence every day than 10 sentences once a week. Daily repetition helps your brain, your mouth, and your courage work together. Small steps add up. Tiny actions grow slowly, like a seed becoming a young tree. Each day of practice strengthens your roots, your branches, and your voice. Repeat after me. Tiny steps every day make me stronger. And remember the power of contrast. Old you may have hidden, stayed silent, or waited for fear to disappear. New you practices, speaks, and moves forward, even with fear. Old you may have rushed and spoken fast and messy. New you speaks slowly, clearly, and confidently. Old you may have avoided mistakes. New you celebrates learning from mistakes. By seeing the difference, you understand that growth is possible. One more tip. Connect English practice to life practice. Every time you face fear, speak English, or try something new, you are practicing courage and life skills together. English becomes a tool for growth. Fear becomes a teacher. Your small actions, your daily practice, your repeated sentences, they are all part of building confidence, communication, and courage. Repeat after me. I grow in English and in life. Finally, remember that this journey is yours. Every learner is different. Every step you take is valuable. Small steps, gentle practice, daily repetition, and using fear as a teacher will guide you. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to try. Over time, these small lessons will transform your English and your courage together. Repeat after me. I try, I learn, I grow. And now, let me show you the whole journey from beginning to end. My full transformation. A story of growth. When I look back at my journey, I can see it clearly. At the beginning, fear controlled my life. I was afraid to speak, afraid to try, afraid to make mistakes. My hands shook, my voice was silent, and my heart felt heavy. I avoided new things, avoided people, and avoided opportunities. Fear made my world small. Every step felt impossible, and I thought I might never grow. Then I realized a simple truth. Courage does not mean no fear. Courage means acting while afraid. I started with the smallest steps. I said hello to a stranger. I practiced one new English word. I spoke one sentence louder than before. I went outside instead of hiding. Each step was heavy and hard, but each step was real. Each step helped me move forward little by little, building strength that I could not see at first. Even when I took small steps, life was not easy. Some days, fear came back stronger than ever. I forgot words, my voice shook, and I felt embarrassed. I wanted to stop. I wanted to hide. But I remembered, growth is not a straight line. Mistakes are part of learning. Fear is normal. I repeated simple sentences. It is okay to try again. A small step is still a step. These reminders helped me keep going, even on the hardest days. Slowly, something amazing happened. I began to discover my strength. I could speak longer sentences in English. I joined conversations instead of avoiding them. I no longer ran from mistakes. One day I realized I was not the same person anymore. The seed of courage that I planted with tiny steps had grown into a young tree. I could feel confidence inside me. My fear was still there, but it no longer controlled my actions. I had grown quietly and steadily, stronger than I imagined. Then I learned to transform fear into power. Fear became a signal instead of a wall. When I felt nervous, I knew it meant the step I was taking mattered. I learned to breathe, slow down, and speak gently. I used exercises like saying my name confidently, speaking one sentence I was afraid to say, and celebrating small wins. Fear became my teacher, and every small action became fuel for courage and growth. Along the way, I learned practical lessons that helped me as an English learner. Start small. One word, one greeting, one sentence. Be gentle with mistakes. They mean you are learning. Practice daily. Tiny steps grow into big change. And remember, fear is not your enemy. It is a guide. These lessons shaped both my English and my confidence. Every small word I spoke strengthened my voice and my courage, and every small action made my life feel bigger and brighter. Today, I see how English changed my life. Learning new words, speaking sentences, and connecting with people gave me confidence. That confidence spilled into everything I did. I felt stronger in conversations, braver in trying new things, and lighter in my heart. Confidence and courage grew together. I learned that language is not just about words. It is about expressing yourself, facing fear, and creating opportunities. Looking back, the journey is simple to describe, but it feels incredible to have lived it. Fear was the first chapter. Small steps were the next. Painful days came, but they taught me resilience. Strength grew quietly. And finally, transformation appeared. A person who acts with courage, speaks with confidence, and sees fear as a teacher. The journey was not perfect, but it was real, and it was mine. And the most important thing I want you to know is this. If I can grow, you can grow too. The path is the same. Start small, take daily steps, act while afraid, and celebrate every success no matter how tiny. Fear will appear, mistakes will happen, but each step forward creates strength. You have the power to change, to grow, and to discover courage you never knew you had. My journey shows that growth does not happen suddenly. It happens quietly, with patience and persistence. It happens when you act, even when your hands shake, your voice trembles, or your heart feels heavy. Growth happens when you take small steps, face fear, and keep moving forward. It happens when you practice English, speak to people, make mistakes, and try again. Step by step, day by day, fear transforms into power, and fear becomes a teacher, not an enemy. So let me leave you with a final message. Conclusion. You are stronger than you think. I want you to remember this every day. Sometimes fear may feel too big, too heavy, and too loud. Your hands may shake. Your heart may feel heavy. Your voice may tremble, but that does not mean you are weak. It means you are human, and it means you are ready to grow. Courage does not come from having no fear. Courage comes from taking small steps, again and again, even when you are afraid. Every tiny action matters, and every small step builds real strength. Think about your journey like a seed. At first, it is small and hidden under the soil. You cannot see it growing, and it may feel slow. But with water, sunlight, and care, the seed slowly becomes a young tree. Courage is like that seed. Every word you speak, every sentence you try, every action you take, even when afraid, is water and sunlight for your courage. Day by day, step by step, it grows stronger. You may not see it immediately, but it is happening quietly inside you. Every new English word you learn is a step. Every sentence you speak is an act of courage. Each time you try, you are planting another seed of confidence. Each time you speak, even if you make a mistake, you are growing stronger. Mistakes are not failures, they are lessons. They are proof that you are learning, practicing, and moving forward. Remember, growth is slow, but it is real. Small steps, repeated over time, create amazing transformations. Fear is not your enemy. It is a signal. When your heart beats fast, when your hands shake, or when you feel nervous, fear is telling you something important. This step matters. Use that energy. Let it guide you. Let it remind you that you are alive, learning and growing. Acting while afraid is the key to change. Acting even a little, every day, builds strength you never knew you had. I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now. You may still feel fear sometimes. That is normal. But now, you have courage. You have spoken new sentences. You have greeted new people. You have practiced small steps every day. You have grown stronger, braver, and more confident. That future self is waiting for you. The first step is today, right now, in this moment. Here are some practical ways to continue your growth. Start with one new word today. Speak one sentence that you were afraid to say. Smile at someone. Say hello. Celebrate that small step. Every action matters. Every effort adds to your courage. Repeat your steps each day. Watch your small actions turn into real strength. Your courage is growing, quietly but powerfully, like a young tree reaching for the sky. I also want you to share your progress with me and with others. Comment below with your small step of today. It could be one word, one sentence, one hello, or one action you tried despite fear. Sharing your step inspires yourself and others. We all grow together. You are part of a community of learners, dreamers, and doers who understand that courage is built one small step at a time. Don't forget to subscribe to Easy English Official. Here, you will find stories, lessons, and exercises to help you grow every day. Each video is a chance to practice English, face fear, and take one more small step toward confidence. Watching the next video will give you new ideas, new sentences, and new courage to continue your journey. Keep learning, keep trying, and keep growing. Remember the power of repetition. One small word repeated every day becomes part of your strength. One small sentence repeated becomes part of your voice. One small step repeated builds confidence and courage. You do not need to rush. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to act, to try, and to continue one step at a time. This is how real transformation happens. Your story is your own, but the lessons are universal. Everyone can grow from fear to strength. Everyone can build courage from small actions. Everyone can speak English with confidence, even if it feels difficult now. You can make mistakes, you can feel nervous, you can feel afraid. But if you take small steps every day, your life will change. Your courage will grow. Your confidence will grow. Your world will grow. As you continue on this journey, remember the simple truth. Courage is built slowly, step by step. Fear is a teacher, not an enemy. Small actions create big changes. Mistakes are lessons, not failures. Your English, your confidence, and your life improve together, quietly and steadily. Every time you speak, every time you act, every time you try, you are building a stronger, braver you. So today, take a small step. Speak one new sentence, say one new word. Try something that feels scary. Celebrate it. Repeat it tomorrow. And the next day. Keep going. Keep trying. Keep growing. Your courage is growing even when you do not see it. And soon, you will look back and see how far you have come. Your courage is growing. Keep going.